So this time, and I want to say, I think she might got nervous when she saw the big word keynote speaker. I told her to come by and say a few words, so it's all up to you. So I would like to introduce our wonderful new state's attorney, Ms. Merlin. Thank you. Creative history.
Good evening. I can breathe. Yeah, you're right. It's finally over. First, I'd like to congratulate tonight's awardees for their service and leadership in the communities. Please give them a round of applause. Secondly, I'd like to congratulate our very own esteemed Madam President, Tessa Hill-Aston, and the NAACP Baltimore Leadership Team for bringing the 2017 NAACP National Convention home to Baltimore, Maryland. Baltimore will have yet another opportunity to show the national audience that Baltimore is truly the greatest city in America. To Madam President, dignitaries, elected officials, and members of the NAACP, I am truly honored to be here. Not a single word that I'll speak tonight will be an empty one. This moment, more so than any other, has overwhelmed my senses with humility, pride, and vigor. You see, I'm a direct byproduct of the vision, works, and sacrifices of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. A byproduct of the towering ideals of an organization that for the past 105 years has been at the forefront of social, economic, and civic advancement of Black and colored people across America. Having been a part of one of the longest standing desegregation busing programs in the country, from the second grade until I graduated high school, then attending one of the most prestigious historically Black universities in the world, Tuskegee University, I must confess that the powerful history and the works of this organization is etched into my consciousness. I am and will forever be grateful, humbled, and deeply honored to have my words deemed worthy of this special occasion, an occasion to address my beloved and beautiful family. Taking the complete advantage of the awesome power of now, an ideology shaped by and taught through the existence of organizations like the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. On January 5th, 2015, I will be sworn in as the state's attorney for Baltimore City. At 34 years of age, I will be the youngest chief prosecutor of a major American city. Now, when I decided to run for Baltimore City State's Attorney, I embarked on a journey that was not easy or rooted in an abundance of external support. I sat down with any and every politician, business owner, community, and clergy leader to ask for their guidance and support in my endeavor. To my dismay, an overwhelming majority of those discussions ended with optimism for my vision, but skepticism in my ability to carry out my vision. Most of those skeptics went as far as to even discourage me from running for the position at all. Whether this skepticism was rooted in love or hatred, I was told over and over again that now was not my time. I was told that my dream was impossible. I was told that I was too young, too inexperienced, that I couldn't raise enough money. My decision to run would not only interrupt, but potentially ruin my husband's political career. For me to run against an incumbent with powerful backers who had the ability of raising close to $1 million. The skeptics wanted to know, how could I have the audacity? I decided that as a wife, a mother raising 2 little girls in the heart of West Baltimore, a woman of faith and a former prosecutor with 6 years of prosecutorial experience and an overall 80% conviction rate, that I possessed the vision and foresight to reform the criminal justice system. I decided that my desire to change the criminal justice system, a system that has historically and disproportionately affected so many communities of color, outweighed the force of their skepticism. I decided that I was going to pursue my purpose and leverage the awesome power of now and run for Baltimore City State's Attorney. Much like the spirit of Booker T. Washington when he proclaimed, "I've begun everything with the idea that I could succeed." And I had never much patience with the multitudes of people who are always ready to explain why one cannot succeed. Unbeknownst to those skeptics, the depths of my conviction and my passion to succeed was because of them. Looking at the plight of my community and the unparalleled destructive impact of the criminal justice system, I decided that I would not pass my grandparents' fight on to my children's children. From slavery to Jim Crow to the industrial prisons complex, I decided that enough was enough, and that God had provided me with a purpose and wanted me to walk in that purpose. You see, throughout my journey of my campaign, I was reminded of Isaiah 41, verse 10. "Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous hand." I walked in God's purpose for my life, and on June 24, 2014, I won the Democratic nomination for Baltimore City State's Attorney in a surprising upset where I beat an incumbent that outraised me 4-1 by double-digit percentage points. This was not the first time that my faith and my purpose was tested. You see, being a part of one of the longest-standing desegregation programs in the country, I woke up every morning at 5 a.m. and was bused an hour outside of the inner city of Boston to one of the richest towns in Massachusetts, where at one point I was the only black child in the entire school. Recognizing the only perspective that many of the students within the school had of black people came through the negative light of the media and through myself. As one of only a handful of black children, I felt compelled to excel academically. I felt compelled to excel despite the stereotypes. I was compelled to excel despite the hurt that I experienced when I got to middle school and my childhood white friends told me that they could no longer be my friend because they were white and they were being called little black girls. As a child, I put my comfort aside. I was compelled to excel because my faith and my purpose was real. I felt compelled to excel because of the sacrifices of those who came before me and sacrificed their lives for me to be in the position that I was in to receive a quality education. You see, I'm a product of the METCO program, and the METCO busing program is a product of the sacrifices and works of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Those memories, those experiences are real and vivid and sit on the tip of my mental cognizance because it's those memories that force me to never give up, never take no as a last answer, never to allow my purpose to be subdued or defined by another person's vision of me. We need not look far for an example of what the mind and spirit of a man can accomplish, for we are in the midst of a truly compelling one. Thurgood Marshall, the son of Baltimore, knew education's power to illuminate not only one's mind, but to liberate their spirits as well. He knew education was the key to overcoming ignorance and resurrecting the divine genius within black people. Were it not, those who brought us here in chains and shackles would never have fought so hard to deprive us of it. Thurgood Marshall is not only an inspiration on account of his ability to impart inspiring ideals, but also for his courage. He fought and sacrificed his life in one of the most hostile environments known to man for me to stand before you today. Today I stand before you, the benefactor of his courage and wisdom. I want you to know that I got to where I am today, not from my own doing, but from the blood, sweat, and tears and sacrifices of those that came before me. I got to where I am today because the people like Harriet Tubman, like Sojourner Truth, like Rosa Parks, like Fannie Lou Hamer, like Shirley Chisholm, like Dr. Ian Emery, Juanita Jackson Mitchell. I got to where I am because of the works of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Having accomplished what others said could not be done, I fully appreciate that success is to be measured not so much by the position that one has reached in life, as by the obstacles which he has overcome. All too often in our communities, when we feel that we've obtained a level of success, we want people to see where we are and not how we got to where we are. But we must continue to pass our testimonies, our tried and tested journeys on to the generations coming behind us. We must constantly remind ourselves that our success is the byproduct of the fruits of someone else's labor. And the true individual success is judged on not what we have obtained, but rather what we have done to put others in a position to obtain greater. This is what this organization has provided, hundreds of thousands over the past 105 years. The critical importance of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People in 1909 drives the same need for this organization in 2014. And it's up to us to ensure that that legacy and the ideals of this organization continue to last for another 105 years. You see, we are the extension of Thurgood Marshall's vision, and we must continue to carry the torch in order to impact the injustices that so ever clearly present their strongholds on communities of color. According to the Bureau of Justice, 1 in 3 black men go to prison in their lifetime. According to the Prison Policy Initiative, nationwide, blacks are 6 times more likely to be incarcerated than whites. In the 42 years since Bureau of Labor Statistics started tracking unemployment data by race, black unemployment has been on average 66% higher than that of whites. In a study of test scores of school-aged children between 1990 and 2007, our children trail white children by 28 points in academic performance. And as recently as 2009, 11 states with felony disenfranchisement and policies effectively reduced their African American voting populations by more than 10%. You see, the laws of changeless justice bind oppressor with oppressed. The words of Booker T. Washington couldn't be truer as we watch Ferguson, Missouri streets filled with high-caliber machine guns, mine-resistant armored vehicles, tear gas, Molotov cocktails, and mass protesters beaming images of civil unrest. It's been 90 days since Michael Brown was shot dead in the street by a police officer. It's been 113 days since Eric Garner was choked to death in New York by a police officer. And 98 days since New York City medical examiner ruled that incident a homicide. Neither has resulted in an indictment. The awesome power of now, interjected with what our ancestors have instilled in us, calls on us. Whether it's Baltimore, Birmingham, or Baton Rouge, we must take a national stand and intentionally redirect the trajectory of the next generation. Through our collective embodiment of our cause, it's up to us to force change. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once eloquently proclaimed a call to action, the current call to action, when he said, "We are now faced with the fact that tomorrow is today. We are confronted with the fierce urgency of now. In this unfolding conundrum of life and history, there is such a thing as being too late. There is no time for apathy or complacency. This is only a time for vigorous and positive action. Our time is now. The time to act, to get engaged in the political process, to become part of the solution to transforming the state of our communities begins with you. It begins today. We as a community have to get off the sidelines and get into the game of life, the game of progress. It starts today with each and every one of us recognizing, appreciating, and giving back to the organization that has provided each and every one of us with a foundation for greatness. We, as the next generation and byproducts of the legacy of our forefathers, not only have the ability, but we have an obligation to stand up and be a part of writing our country's history. No, understand, and appreciate, in the words of Theodore Roosevelt. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how strong a man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement. And at the end, the victory is ours. We have to stand up. Our time is now. We don't know victory. We don't know victory until we get up and get out and get active. Our time is now. And it's up to us to claim it. Thank you so much.